Welcome, everyone. This is John Ryan, and I'm here with Jesse Scholl, my good friend and pal from Vancouver, my temporary arch rival, I guess. I guess we don't have anything that we bet against each other. I'm just waiting to eat some pizza, but we'll do that together. No sense having it sent through the mail because it'd probably get rancid by the time it got here. How are things going?
Things are going good. Yeah. Yeah. Doing well with the baseball in July. That's for sure.
Good, good. You got anything special going on at Sports Memo tonight?
Yeah. I got 3 baseball plays, all $10 a piece. And yeah, what are we? We're 11-3 with baseball in July. So that's a nice 81% run.
Yeah, that's better than the 5-4 Yankee record.
It's true.
I don't know what it is, Jesse. I know I beat a dead horse with it, but we started with teams that have outscored their opponents by 100 or more. Now we're at teams that outscore their opponents by 150 or more. And then you add a few more situations and team coaching, player situations, and you get some powerful fades of these juggernauts. And I'm convinced the reason is that you get severely overpriced markets because what have the Yankees and the Dodgers done? They just win, and they keep winning. And it seems like you'll just win forever just blindly betting them. Well, even since June 1st, the Yankees have had one of the best records in all of baseball. The Braves are number one since June 1st. Yankees are second, Phillies third. Phillies have the best ROI, and the Yankees are about a fifth of the ROI, despite having a one-game better record. So that too points to the overvalued nature that the Yankees are right now. But certainly they could just keep winning. But they're so over. Every day they're minus 175 or higher, regardless of home or away. And if you figure it out, you go 4-6 over a 10-game span, fading them. You do pretty damn well. And that still means the Yankees are winning. So I don't know what to think about that anymore, but we did have that angle of the day that was squarely on the Colorado Rockies, I believe, yesterday, which was, yeah. So that also does not qualify for tonight because our dog allowed a little bit more than 2 runs last night in their loss. And finally, the San Diego Padres got off the 10-game losing streak, which you correctly called. And I did not correctly call. I thought it would just continue, but it was a hard-fought match or game. It did. Padres had to work out of some serious jams there, and they did. So much to their credit. Now the million-dollar question is, does it carry over to tonight?
Well, I think it was you that mentioned if they get the monkey off their back, it should be a bit of a load off. And I would tend to agree with that. I also like the fact that the home field advantage for Colorado with the altitude, and you mentioned coming from sea level as well, from San Diego to Colorado is such a dramatic change. That's going to hit them harder in game one than it is as the series moves on. You get more time to get acclimated, and by the time you're out of there, that the final few games of the series are going to, there's going to be less of an advantage with the altitude there. So I think that bodes well for them in game two for San Diego. But another angle is the Rockies and how they hit left-handed pitching. I mean, I've been harping on about it. I believe they're still best in the majors, batting average versus left-handed pitching. And when you look at it, as good as they are against lefties, that means they don't hit righties very good because they're certainly not best in the majors overall. So sure enough, they're 5-14 in their last 19 versus right-handed starters. That doesn't bode well tonight facing Clevenger.
No, it certainly doesn't. I was looking at some stats here on this game, and I think we just got another guest. We did. Mr. Mejia, thank you for joining us. Are you there?
Hey, what's going on? I'm unmuting because apparently I had something muted. That means that I had ads come up or something. So how you boys doing?
Good. How about you?
Doing all right. Getting ready to play basketball at 6, so you guys have me for about 45 minutes. But yeah, then got to talk baseball with on the BetMGM Tonight show tonight at 8.
Oh,
So
very good.
prepping for baseball all day, and keeping an eye on that. A little bit of NBA Summer League, but a lot of surprises. Very difficult to cap. Paulo Banchero won't play again for the Magic, so start fading them. But things are good. So tell me about this news. You're going to start up your own thing.
Yeah, I've kind of always had it in place, and one of the things I do want to build, and I'm glad you asked, is I have a database that is enormous in all the sports. Baseball goes back to 1882 by player, and I've always wanted to build dashboards for new bettors to learn how to handicap analytically. The fundamental side that is more like classes and a university type of thing,
Mm-hmm.
which will come as the next phase of my project. But at the end of the day, I need time to do it, and it's a we're still going to be kind of connected. We're doing shows. We're going to still have the same guys appearing periodically for baseball shows. It's just not going to be as frequent, so that I have the time to build these things out, especially ahead of football season, and then have a product. It's going to be anywhere from $30 to $40 a month recurring subscription. There'll be over 200 different parameters people can use for the NFL alone, and it'll all be drop-down menus. So you don't have to know Python like I know it. You don't have to know C++ or SQL. Jesse Scholl won't have to study any type of code at all. He'll just go, gee, I wonder how Patrick Mahomes threw for 300 yards in the second half. And you hit that drop-down menu. So you would hit Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs, how many seasons you want to go back, whether it's his entire career or just recently.
I got you.
Oh, he threw for 300 yards in the third and fourth quarter combined, so you hit that drop-down menu. How did the Chiefs do the following week? And it'll give you straight up against the spread, over, under, and by quarter, and then ROI. So it'll be very quick, and you won't have to know a bit of code. And I think a lot of people will be interested in it.
So basically, you're putting the supercomputer out there and teaching people how to use it.
On the front end, so to speak. So people have access to it instead of it being stored in a data lake.
That's cool. I expect comped access.
What's that?
I expect comped access for all my hard work.
Definitely. Anybody that appears on the shows that knows how to use a mouse
at least gets a 7-day free trial.
Yeah,
right, John?
At least. That's very cool. I mean, best of luck on it, and obviously I won't be a stranger. So
I knew that going forward.
That's cool, but very good, very nice to hear, and good luck. So long as you're happy, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, I'm smiling, but it's not. It's all good. It's all good on both sides, and it's not. It's anything other than that.
Gotcha.
I felt that I had to dilute myself from doing too many shows, and I've been going at it for 7 days a week, and it is rather unhealthy to do that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no doubt. Like July, I understand. Like I picked up my Phil Steele today, so I'll start college football stuff the way I do it, probably in the middle of next week. And then be good to go for because I think we're doing a seminar on Sunday for Wager Talks meet and greet on the 20th. No, that would be the 20th or the 21st. Not sure which date that falls, but it's that Sunday morning. And so want to be up on that. And obviously we've got college football evolving, over the next couple of years. UCF and everybody else joins the Big 12 next season. And then the season after that, I think we'll have the other moves. The SEC embracing Oklahoma and Texas and whatnot, what's coming with the Big Ten and UCLA and USC, and we'll see what else happens down the line. So this is really it for college football as we have known it.
Yeah, it really is. And I think I said to Jesse on yesterday's show, or whoever was on yesterday's show, Notre Dame now, I think their hand is forced.
I agree.
They're going to have to move, and I think it's the Big Ten is the obvious location.
Yep.
I was hoping that the Big Ten would then be called the Sweet 16, but now it would be the Sweet 17.
I don't think they're dropping that big.
It's amazing that they have 16 teams now with USC and UCLA, but Notre Dame can't go to the ACC because I'm hearing Florida State and North Carolina are all but gone to the SEC, and we'll have to see if that's true.
Yeah, I've read on that too. I mean, I guess we'll see. We'll see if the SEC decides to expand further. You know, I would think that, you know, Texas and Oklahoma faced some backlash, but it was, I mean, so much money involved. I don't know about FSU and North Carolina if they're as big a draws as Texas and Oklahoma, you know, just because of the other schools in their respective states. But yeah, I guess we'll see.
Yeah, I agree with you on North Carolina, but think about the other sports. North Carolina-Duke rivalry now kind of gets severed. I'm sure they'll still play each other, but it just won't be the same because they're not in the same conference.
Yeah, no. Again, if it happens, I would be surprised. But you know, I think North Carolina should stick with NC State and Duke. I mean, that's just
I agree.
Such a traditional thing. But again, money talks.
The money, yeah, it's all. I mean, there's no sugarcoating it at all. I mean, it's not for the best interest of the kids, certainly, because now, and I wrote about this in an article too, there seems to be little thought about the impact on the athletes. For example, football now, UCLA, USC have to travel to Rutgers.
Yeah.
Fly back, then possibly fly to Michigan State, fly back, home game. And the same for the teams on the East Coast, Penn State, Rutgers.
Yeah, all sports, not just football. I mean, think about the kids that have to now spend. I mean, that's a 2-day trip, 3-day trip max for football. But what if you're a baseball team playing a series? You know, and you're going out in college. I mean, that's unheard of to be going from the far west to
it's never been done.
Clear across the country in some instances.
It's never been done that I know of, other than championship situations. And then, like I was saying, of girls softball and boys men's baseball, a little different for them because they could go on a road trip and play Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, a 4-game series or a 2-game series, say at Michigan State, then Michigan, and then 2 games at Penn State. And they would have to study between games, of course.
Yeah, lots of travel.
But the student-athlete term is something the NCAA, I think, is going to have to be careful with in using as a reference going forward. You know, that I love that commercial that 99% of our kids are going professional in something else other than the sport they enjoy. And I wish it was like that, but unfortunately now it really is professional college football, and that's what's driving it.
For sure.
So, Jesse, any thoughts on that one?
I think it's crazy that you would have USC flying all the way to the East Coast. When I heard the news, that's the first thing I did is pull out a map and say, this just doesn't look feasible.
The other thing is I'm still researching this to make sure that it is correct. I have weather data in my football database. To my knowledge, USC and UCLA have never played a game in the snow.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I mean once we hit those October and November games, that's going to be handy information. And yeah, you got to nail that down because either way, I mean they're still going to be flying across the country to play a whiteout at Penn State in bitterly cold weather on a Saturday night, instant double-digit underdogs. I don't care how I don't care how good that particular USC or UCLA team is.
That home field advantage will go up against those teams, no doubt. But I couldn't understand that would be true because doesn't it snow in Oregon?
Well, yeah. Colorado.
Colorado.
Washington.
Maybe they played them early this season before it snowed. I don't know if it's true, but whether it is or not, the number of times they have played in snow as a program is quite small compared to the number of games they have played overall.
It sounds false to me. It really does, because
Yeah, I think
I'm
it has to
in
be.
Pac-12 country, and I can tell you it snows.
Yeah, I mean, it even snows in Northern California. It snows in Hawaii. Did you know that? I didn't know that till this year. It actually snows up to a foot, but it's in the mountains. It's on that peak. What's the name of that peak in Hawaii? It's supposedly the third largest peak in the world, which I didn't know that either. But up there, it snows surprisingly a lot. But I guess then you can go down the mountain and go swimming in the ocean. I don't know how we got talking about that. It's my fault.
I got a question for Mr. Mejia about the bigger, stronger, faster argument. I don't know if you saw that my reply there on Twitter about
Jordan and Morant. No, I don't remember seeing it.
Okay, well, it was John Morant saying that he would smoke MJ.
Right, yeah. No, I don't think I saw your reply though.
Also, Draymond Green also, I believe, said that the athletes of today are so superior and he was referring to athletes from Jordan's era as well. And I dispute that wholeheartedly. I mean, you look at the age of some of the guys that are dominating right now across the board in all sports. You got Novak Djokovic, you got Alex Ovechkin, you got Justin Verlander's 39 years old, you got Tom Brady who's 44. And if athletes were truly so superior, bigger, stronger, faster, presumably better, none of these guys would be able to do what they're doing at the age they're at, because Justin Verlander certainly isn't at his physical peak, nor would Tom Brady be, nor would LeBron James be at the age of 37. So I think people really overestimate how rapidly that bigger, stronger, faster is somewhat obvious when you look at a black and white NBA game and when they can barely dribble. But I don't think it carries that much weight going back 20 years.
I think the volume of it is probably higher. I think there are better athletes as a whole on an NBA team 1 through 8 than there were in the 70s and 80s.
Better benches.
Yeah, better benches, more athleticism, more length in terms of wingspan. I mean, there's some freak athletes now that you could term unicorn, and it would fit 5-7 guys. Whereas in the Sean Bradley played in the NBA at a decently high level for a few years, and he would not be able to make the league now despite his size. So I think from that standpoint, I give it to the athletes of today. But I mean, like, there are guys that could play at any era. Your Jordans, Magics, James Worthies. Probably half of the NBA in the 80s and 90s would have a shot at playing today, but the other half would not be at that level. So I think depth is better now.
Well, I thought, based on your comment, you thought it was somewhat blasphemous for.
Well, it's blasphemous for John Morant to say anything about Michael Jordan. That's completely different. I mean, from the standpoint of Ja being, and I think Jordan responded like, "Show me on the court, kid. You're in your third year. In my third year, I was winning an MVP the next year and a championship. So, like, and competing for a championship. So he's right about that. And Ja basically exploded this season. So, I mean, he's rookie of the year, and he was excellent as a rookie. But to be at the highest stratosphere, hold the reins on that. So, I mean, and from his game alone, very explosive athlete. But Michael Jordan has him on size, equally explosive, and a better shooter, stronger.
Yep. No doubt.
So what do you guys got going on the diamond today? I won my first play of the day, which is good because the Braves let me down last night, so got back on track.
I was on the Braves last night
with Shane Bieber. Oh yeah, I mean, I thought I didn't want to fade Scherzer, but I thought, all right, he faced the Reds the first time out. Now he's facing a team that's really seen the ball and shut him out. So I played the first 5, and Fried gave up 2 runs and 2-0. That's it.
Yeah, I think that's it. A big win for the Mets. It was down to 1.5 games. It was 10.5 on June 1st, 12.5 over the Phillies, and even the Phillies now, even without Bryce Harper, had the third best record in baseball since June 1. And they lost last night. They split the 4-game series with the Cardinals, which isn't the worst thing in the world because that's basically who they're competing with right now for that third playoff spot. But I think the Phillies make it. And Jesse, we talked yesterday about the Phillies winning the division, and they're pretty darn cheap in my humble opinion. Whether they do it or not, but at 20-1, that means that they have a 5% chance of winning the division. They make a move at the deadline, and I've been talking about Logan Webb, which probably isn't a possibility.
Right.
But a name like that, or a Noah Syndergaard, which probably will be on the block, and he pitches tonight. They get somebody like that, and all of a sudden they're kind of there because they have Noah, they have Wheeler. Noah's had bad luck the whole season. He lost to Washington because of a dropped ball in center field. In a game that he pitched impeccably well. He's number 1 in the majors in strikeout to walk ratio at 8-1. And there's really nobody even close to him. And Wheeler needs no introduction. So I think they have, they have a number 1 starter in Wheeler, and then they have 1A in Noah. They bring in a Syndergaard, which would be a legit number 2. And then Kyle Gibson.
But I mean, you would need both of them to fall off, both the Mets and the Braves. So I mean, you're going head to head against them, presumably at least 6 times each. I don't have their schedule in front of me, but I would assume that you've got another home and road against both on board. But I mean, I don't trust the Phillies because you have to wait out a Bryce Harper return, and then you also your home record 24-21. I mean, that's average, whereas both the Mets and Braves have been really solid home teams. So from that standpoint, I would bet the Phillies to win the NLCS better than I'd like that my odds of that better than winning the NL East, considering they're so far behind.
Oh, that's a great idea, actually.
NLCS, you basically got to make the wild card, make it through, and then get hot when it matters most, and then by then you have Harper back.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, if you're going to take that shot, might as well go big.
Yeah. What do you have the odds in front of you? What that would be? I'm just trying.
I don't, but I can find them. I mean, that's quick. If you guys want to kill some time, I'll look.
Yeah, let's see. What do you think of that bet, Jesse?
I think it's genius, really. I mean, when you really think about it, it's asking a lot to make up that ground in the regular season, and when you shorten it and you get them to sneak into the playoffs, and all they got to do is shorten up their rotation. They certainly have the good high-end pitching in the first 3 spots of the rotation to compete in the playoffs, I think.
Well, plus 1,600. So
I mean, that's what I'm seeing too. Let's see it right now.
Plus 1,600 at FanDuel to win the NL.
I actually have 22 at BetMGM.
Okay, yeah, and with things like this, you have to shop around because the all the books are so different in terms of what they offer.
Yeah.
I always tell people if you're betting future, shop for the best number. Either way, if you're laying or looking to make a payday.
So Sandy Alcantara, and I've heard some announcers recently say Alcantara.
Right.
Which one is correct?
I would like to, because that name gives me issues, and few do. So I would like to ask him how he likes it pronounced. I would say it's Sandy Alcantara, if in English, because it should be Alcantara. But that's hard for people to say. So Alcantara. I mean, but I've heard it like 10 different ways. I'm sure Rob Bino says it his own way, but I don't think there's anything wrong with that because I'm not sure that he's clarified it. But
that's why Tony Finn has such an advantage in life, is that you can't mispronounce his name.
That's true.
I mean, what are you going to say? Fine. I mean, that doesn't make any sense. It's 2 N's. We were trying to figure out, Rob, how to pronounce Alcantara. Is it Alcantara? Which I heard recently, and I was like, oh my goodness, we've been saying it wrong for years. But the reason I
You know
brought it
what?
up is,
You know what? Actually, I was doing a show with Ski Profit about a month ago, and I went to the Miami Marlins television booth and listened to their announcers call his name because I was calling him I called him everything. When he first came up, Alcantara, then it was Alcantara.
Yeah.
But then I heard them say Alcantara. So that's how I say it now, Sandy Alcantara. So everybody, I think I heard Tony Mejia say everybody says it differently, or he's heard it 10 different ways.
Yeah.
The same with me. I'm just going with like the Miami Marlin broadcasters now and how they say it because I don't know any better. I'd have to ask him. In fact, I saw him recently on an interview. I should have listened a little closer.
well, St. Louis has a pitcher too, Matthew.
Liberator?
Yes, Liberator, or it could be Liberatore. Or
I think it's Liberator, but yeah, his is
Liberator.
Miles Michaelis and Miles Michaelis, but I think it's Michaelis. But people butcher that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's true.
And to the point of Tony Finn, anybody could make up a 4-letter last name and have it pronounced easily. I mean, if we try to pronounce his real last name, we're not getting there.
Well, that's a good point.
It's something between, I don't know, Ukraine and Russia. So, I mean, I don't pronounce those very well.
I'm terrible with hockey. I'll never
Mm-hmm.
get any better either.
It's
But anyway,
amazing to me with the hockey.
because he is the contender for the Cy Young right now. I think deservedly so.
Yeah.
And you have Corbin Burns at 6-1, Musgrove 9-1, Gonsolin is 11-1, and he's
Wow.
undefeated. What's wrong with that picture? Zach Wheeler 18-1, Aaron Noah, who, as I said earlier, is number one strikeout to walk ratio in the majors by a long shot, 35-1. Which one of those guys can take it away from Sandy? Gonsolin seems cheap. I mean, why would you think the guy's not going to keep winning? I mean, his movement is incredible. He keeps the ball down. He knows how to move both sides of the plate. He expands the strike zone on his own. It just seems like he is a gift at 11-1, even if that's not if he doesn't win, but I think that's where the value is. But what do you think, Rob?
Well, we talked a little bit about him yesterday, and I think we said exactly that, John. You wait around, and now we're in the second week in July, and the guy still hasn't had a poor performance. I mean, so at some point, it's not a fluke anymore. Even guys like Garrett Cole and all these big-name guys have had bad performances along the way. Tony Gonsolin, you go read his game logs, you can't find one. So at this point, it's not a mirage. Lineups, some lineups have already seen him a couple of times, and he's done well the second time through. So I'm with you, John. I think that, if you're looking for a value play, why not Tony Gonsolin? I don't think he's of fragile mind to where he would melt in September if the Dodgers are in a battle for, say, first overall in the National League. I think he'd be just fine. He just seems to have that demeanor on the hill.
Yeah.
So, yeah, if you're looking for something at 11-1 that's got a really good chance, I would say that's it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, Sandy, though, is really pitching lights out.
Yeah, I like Max Fried as a future, even though they lost last night in the head-to-head with Scherzer, and I was on the Braves again, so it was disappointing. And it was his shortest outing, I think, of the season for Fried. He only gave them 5, so maybe he bounces back in a big way. And obviously, if the Braves chase down the Mets and win a division, he'll be in the mix. He's at 1,300 at FanDuel from what I saw.
National League MVP winner was Bryce Harper last year. It's not going to be him back-to-back years because of the injury. But Kyle Schwarber has caught fire. And 27 homers, a few behind Aaron Judge for the majors lead. He's 25-1 right now to win the MVP. And, Rob, we were talking earlier about the Phillies possibly winning the division, but Tony Mejia came up with what Jesse called a genius bet, and I agree, is to bet the Phillies to win the NLCS at 22-1. Because once they're in the playoffs, they could be a dangerous team.
There's
So,
no question.
with that said, do you think that would be enough? And assuming that Kyle Schwarber would be the reason why they make it to the playoffs, that would be enough to get him in contention with Paul Goldschmidt, who's minus 110, Machado 550, Alonso 700, Mookie Betts 1100, Trey Turner 1800. Think Schwarber would be in that group and start getting mentioned for MVP?
Well, we talked a little bit yesterday about how baseball's played in kind of blocks or stages of games. And right now, Kyle Schwarber's in that zone where everything he hits is touched pretty well. But there's still 60, 70 games to go, 70-plus games to go. And I don't know that he can continue at this home run pace. If he does, John, to your point, if he does, absolutely. Because what's he got, 28 already?
Yep.
So if he continues at the pace he's been hitting him the last 3 weeks, the guy's going to have like 52 or 53 home runs by the end of the year, which puts you automatically in MVP contention. I don't know if he can keep up that pace. I don't know if pitchers will pitch him the same way. I think it's a benefit that he hits leadoff for that team because pitchers generally come right at the leadoff hitter. So that's a good spot to see good pitches. Turner and Betts probably split vote because they're on the same team, which makes it hard for either one of them. But I would think Trey Turner at 1,800 seems awfully high. But again, like I say, probably splits it with Mookie Betts. I'm biased to Paul Goldschmidt, even though he's the favorite. I'm really rooting for him. Wilmington, Delaware guy, spent his, majority of his career in Arizona carrying that team. And he just goes so under-publicized and so unnoticed. Yet when you go through his historical numbers up to this point, you could make the case he's a first ballot guy. I mean, he's got gold gloves. He's got, I don't think he has an MVP, but he's got gold gloves. He's got playoff appearances. He's got all kinds of individual honors. Just doesn't have that big team honor yet. I don't know that St. Louis can get him there, but I'm kind of rooting for him, even though he's chalk.
Yeah. The second half is going to be really interesting, that's for sure. Phillies, by the way, go ahead, Rob.
I was just going to say Machado may get he's going to get the benefit of Tatis coming back. And we hit on Machado a little bit yesterday, right? That San Diego, Colorado game. Boy, I'm thinking last night, where were we right and where were we wrong? Well, we were certainly wrong on the two starting pitchers getting banged around because the first 5 wasn't where the action was. But we were right about Coors Field being the perfect elixir for Manny Machado's slump. He hit a bomb yesterday. And we were right about the San Diego bullpen being a disaster because they didn't exactly walk home with that 6-2 lead. I mean, they just about gave it up. So I wonder what Machado with Tatis, if that would help or hinder his chances of becoming MVP. If San Diego was to have a push, it would be great, but would a bunch of that be due to Tatis playing well as well?
Yeah, well, if they do in the NL West, it'll still be, although I think he's missed maybe a week or two, it would still be largely on his him holding up the team for the first half of the season. I mean, really, it's been the starting pitching and Machado that have the Padres where they are without Tatis.
Yep.
No help from Blake Snell.
Right, yeah, he's very inconsistent these days.
Yeah, that's for sure. So what else? American League, looks like it's going to be Aaron Judge and Ohtani going down to the wire for MVP. Ohtani going for back-to-backs. And Jesse Scholl has been a big-time supporter and believer in Ohtani, let me tell you. I think the guy has dinner with him when he's back in town. Is that right, Jesse?
That's probably my worst take of the season was the Ohtani is overrated take, I got to admit. But
it pales in comparison to my support of Ben Simmons. I stand accountable. It pales. It makes you look like a genius compared to my support of Ben Simmons.
Misguided. Misguided.
But
You
to
know
Rob's
what?
point about what we got right and what we got wrong about last night's game between the Padres and the Rockies, I was big on fading Urena, saying, this guy got rocked in the minors. He's, in and out of the big leagues, back and forth between the minors and the bigs the last 3-4 years. I expected him to have a rough start. Well, he gave up 7 hits and 3 walks, but didn't really give up a ton of runs and sort of escaped with what looks like not that bad of a start again for the second time in a row. He's still certainly on my fade list. And I think it was great that I did have a bet on the Rockies, or sorry, a bet against the Rockies. And for him to escape and not get lit up keeps him on that fade list with good value too. I mean, you're not having to pay a bunch to bet against him. And he's got Dallas Keuchel 2.0. Dallas Keuchel's another guy who's starting tonight who's struggling mightily. And I expect Urena to basically go down that road.
Yep, I like it. Let's see. Probably say football for later this week. I did put out an article on a betting system. You guys will love this one. 33-year betting system. NFL, 65% against the spread winners. It has done even better in recent years because of the advance in offensive metrics. But it's a pretty simple one. I don't think I actually have it here to show, but I wish I did. Maybe we can start out with Tony Mejia. If you want to go first for a final round of best bets, I'll find this system and then I'll show it to you guys.
All right. I think I'm gonna go. I mean, it's chalky because it's and it's juicy. But I mean, I'm looking at it. I think I'm gonna throw 1% at it. It's Spencer Strider strikeouts. Say that a few times fast. Only 6.5, which sounds trappish, but it's at minus 195. And is that a lock bet? Well, I mean, Strider's had 11 Ks or more in 3 of the last 5 starts, and he had 7 in one of the starts that he didn't get double digits. So that would beat this number. And it's the Mets. They see fastball as well, but they also strike out a lot. So I think Strider goes at least 7 innings, in which case he gets at least 8 Ks. So I'm going to go with Strider. Over 6.5 Ks. It sounds very trap line-ish. I'll give you that.
I like it. I have no argument for me. Jesse, you want to go next? I'm still trying to find this file.
Sure. So best bets. Does it have to be today's game, or can I give out a football future?
It could be football, anything you want. It could be 2 cockroaches going across the street.
Okay, well,
As long as people can watch it.
I give out my season win total for the Dallas Cowboys. And this is sort of going with like a John Ryan style philosophy. John's mentioned several times in the last couple of weeks that the Yankees are overvalued when a team's outscored their opponent by more than 100 runs in the month of July. The betting markets shift over. They favor that team to the point where it becomes a good bet to fade them. And I think that system's gone well for you so far in July, hasn't it, John?
It has. It was a little shaky in June with over 100, but now the Yankees are 5-4, averaging a 175 favorite. So, as I said earlier in the show, the Yankees can go 6-4 and you fade them blindly, you're going to make money. So unless you think they're going to go 7 or 8-2, I think fading them is the thing to do. Now, I could be dead wrong.
Apply that logic to the NFL, and last night I wrote up my season win total projection for the Cowboys, who were 12-5 last season, won the NFC East, and finished the season with the best ATS record in the NFL. And that's a recipe for being overvalued when you're coming off only their 4th winning season in the last 12 years. They call themselves America's team. They were the best ATS last year. Only 3 teams have a higher number than the Cowboys. I think the NFC East is going to be a lot more competitive this year. You look at the Eagles, supposed to have the best offensive line in football. They've made some acquisitions. They should be a little better. Even the Giants should be better this year than they were last year if they can avoid injuries. Cowboys were 6-0 in the division last year.
Yeah.
Let's say they go 4-2 this year, and that would be enough to bring them under their win total. So, fading the Cowboys in the season win totals.
Well, the Eagle fans, I just heard a roar down the street on North Broad. They love you, Jesse. You just made 1 million new followers.
Well, for every
I
happening,
have a question for all of you, actually, before I get to my little system here. I was on a show last night for the first time. It was a lot of fun. It was called the Big Game Reflog out of Cleveland. And they talk nothing but Browns. To their credit, they are professional fans, very, very smart. It was fun. But they were inquisitive to know what I thought about Baker Mayfield being player of the year or comeback player of the year, or what the prospect was for the Browns in that division. And what I said was that division is so cluttered with uncertainty that I don't know if there is any opportunity in that division in the American Conference there with Baltimore, Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. I mean, you have to give the edge to Cincinnati, certainly. But we know that teams that make it that deep don't do so well because of the hangover from the Super Bowl impact. But what do you guys think? I mean, let's just go around the table around the screen here real quick with just quick thoughts. I thought that the Browns were undervalued and a play on the win total now made sense because Jackson is not going to play for them, at least for half the season, if not the whole season. So you can't even put him in your handicap. But I think something tells me that the Browns, this is a year that they could outperform, even with all the reasons that they wouldn't. And maybe I'm stupid, but I lean over on the win total. But let's start with Tony Mayhew, and then we'll go Jesse, and then Rob. I'll do my final bet, and then Rob will bring up the anchor.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think right now Deshaun Watson probably sits at least 8 games. I know people think that it'll be less than that. I don't. If he is only going to be out 8 games, then you can start looking at the over. But I would say it's under or bust for me. I think Baker Mayfield has a shot to do pretty well in Carolina. He's got to be healthy, and he's got to get into a rhythm. I think he's one of the bigger rhythm quarterbacks I've ever seen. If he feels comfortable in the pocket, he can put it wherever he wants. If he doesn't, he's shaky. And then as going back to Cleveland, are we riding with Jacoby Brissett? I guess to be the overseer for those first 8 games. Well, what do they look like? Let's presume that it's an 8-game suspension for Deshaun, and he comes back after their bye. Well, they play at Baker Mayfield's Panthers on September 11th to open the season. That'll be a fun one. They host the Steelers in week 3, the Chargers in week 5. That's going to be a big statement game for both teams, I would presume. Then they host the Patriots the week after that. Then they're at Baltimore, and then they host the Bengals. So that's from weeks 5 through 8. That's an enormous stretch that you would be unlikely to have Deshaun Watson as your quarterback. Are you going to win those games with Jacoby Brissett? We'll see 3 months from now, but sitting here in July, I would say no. So I would fade the Browns, and I am, I guess, in the camp that I won't dismiss a Baker Mayfield comeback player of the year story entirely.
It does feel dumb to think that they're going to outperform. It's too contrarian. Jesse, what do you think?
I've always been a bit of a Baker Mayfield fan, and I think he gets a bit of a bad rap. I mean, people view him as he not even good enough to be a starter in the league anymore. And I think they forget that when Tyrod Taylor was the quarterback and he stepped up and took a franchise that had lost an ungodly amount of games over a long stretch of years and turned them into a competitive team, I think Mayfield could do well in Carolina. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't. As far as the Browns without Deshaun Watson, Jacoby Brissett, if the offensive line holds up, Nick Chubb, I mean, they can win games. I think think they can hang in there. I don't know. I mean, their win total. What was their win total? It was. It wasn't that lofty, I don't believe.
I remember it being 8. Any Rob or Tony, different?
I haven't seen a number on the Browns in a while now. The last thing I think I remember was like 6.5 or 7. I could have swore I saw. If it's 8, that's high. And
I'm only recalling that, and that might have been when there was no certainly with Jackson not playing. I don't know when that would have been, but you're right. Most books have it off the board.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell, John, which way to play it until you see the number, right? Because we're always betting against numbers. I would say this: the quarterback, no matter who, is surrounded by an immense amount of talent on the Cleveland Browns. I mean, that's a team where offensively, you could choose Kevin Stefanski. He could choose to shorten games and rely on his ground attack, which his offensive line and running game is fantastic. And his defense, you're looking at bookend defensive ends on that team now, Jadeveon Clowney and Myles Garrett. It's a good defense. So maybe they could win low-scoring games against teams. But again, it depends on where the number is, Joe. John, we may be looking at Cleveland on an individual game basis, maybe as being underrated in the point spread week to week. Maybe we can capitalize on them as dogs because people are not, in my estimation, people won't run to the window to back Jacoby Brissett. However, I'm in the camp that thinks Jacoby Brissett is more than serviceable when given the opportunity and not having to look over his shoulder. So, maybe I'm heading in that direction. Let's look at Cleveland week to week basis while Deshaun Watson is out. I've heard as much as a year. It depends how hard the NFL wants to come down here and how hard the NFL wants to avoid, activism outside their stadiums. Because as soon as Deshaun Watson is declared eligible, you can be sure that those stadiums are going to be flooded outside with picket signs and everything else. So maybe week to week with Cleveland. The Baker Mayfield thing is interesting because, again, Carolina's got some pieces for Baker Mayfield to work with. And who's to say, to Jesse's point, I think Jesse was kind of pro Baker Mayfield. To his point here, who's to say how injured he was? I mean, Baker Mayfield may have been so injured last year that he just couldn't perform while everybody's ripping him, right? We don't know. I'm not in that locker room to tell you how badly banged up he was and if he was just gutting things out or not. But to me, it would appear that way, right? So if he's 100% healthy, I think having him in a huddle as opposed to Sam Darnold, to me, the leadership gap is significant between what the rest of the huddle listens to when Mayfield's in there and what the rest of the huddle listens to when Darnold's in there. I mean, maybe I'm knocking Sam Darnold too much, but I believe Baker Mayfield's a better leader. So you have Christian McCaffrey back. You've got speed on the outside. You've got a coach in his second year, systems that are, ready to roll. Maybe Baker Mayfield has a little bit of comeback. I don't think he could be MVP, but I think Carolina could have a little juice to them as well as a team that maybe gets a little overlooked. So that's probably my two thoughts on these teams. I don't know that I would go to the futures board, but maybe I'm more of a week to week guy with those two teams.
Makes sense to me. Well, you guys have been waiting for this. Check out this puppy. Road favorites in a non-divisional clash. Road favorite has averaged 7.5 or more yards per pass attempt on the season. And our road team has struggled on defense, allowing 7 or more yards per pass attempt in 3 consecutive games. As I said earlier, you can see why this has had more plays and more success with the increase in offense in the NFL in recent seasons. But straight up record is 83.5%, 162 wins, 32 losses. More importantly, 138, 47, 9 pushes against the number for 74.6% winning bets. Last 3 seasons, even better, 35-3 straight up, 92%. And granted, you're probably at times laying minus 300 money line, but it's road favorites, so it'd be unusual if it was that high, being a road favorite, even if it's Kansas City or the Rams or whoever. But against the spread, 28, 7, and 3, and that's 80% winners over the last 3 years alone. They've covered the spread by 5.9 points per game. In the last 33 years, 25 of these years have been highly successful, meaning more than 5 games over 500, and in some cases a whole lot more. There was 3 seasons where the record was perfectly even and you lost the vig. And then there was there was 5 seasons that you lost the vig that tied. In other words, wins and losses were exactly the same against the spread, and 3 seasons that were losers, with, believe it or not, the worst season being 4 games under 500. I don't know about you guys, but this one is in my my circle pool for sure, along with a few others that I'll present as the weeks get closer and closer to the start of the season. I think that one's pretty good. I'm not even going to ask you guys to debate whether it's pretty good. I know it's good.
Have you guys seen the Baker Mayfield, Jameis Winston meme that goes around social media?
The what?
I have not.
There's a quite a popular meme that you'll see on Twitter and Facebook and stuff with the first 4 seasons compared between the 2 quarterbacks, because there seems to be this sort of large group of people that hate Baker Mayfield, that sort of feel like he's not good enough to be a starter, where Jameis Winston's kind of coveted. I mean, teams seem to want Jameis Winston as a starter. And anyways, if you stack their numbers up through their first 4 seasons, it's like you're looking in the mirror. Almost identical between the 2 quarterbacks.
Wow. So I'm starting to think Jacoby Brissett is MVP. No, I'm not.
No, you're not.
But he could run that offense, though, Rob, to your point. I mean, that's an offense that he could run.
They have a favorable schedule.
Amari Cooper's on that offense now, John. I mean, they've got guys. And they have a really good offensive line. So, and the defense is really good too. I mean, it's a shame that this whole Deshaun Watson thing is what it is, because with a quarterback of that talent, I think Cleveland and Cincinnati would probably be co-favorites up there. I mean, I'm a little less high on Baltimore than the rest of the free world, but I would think Joe Burrow and Deshaun Watson with the 2 supporting casts, and Lamar Jackson would be right there as well. But I think those 2 probably be co-favorites. And, they took a shot on Watson, and they might have to. We'll see, again, how hard they come down on him. I'm not sure. We all hear different numbers of games.
I'm looking at the Wager Talk odds board. Hold on, let me get the right number up. Who would you say is the favorite week 1? Cleveland on the road against Baker Mayfield's Panthers, or the Panthers?
I know the answer to that. I cannot answer the question because I know the answer.
All right. Well, I now know the answer.
Small number. It's a very small number.
Who doesn't know?
I don't know.
All right. What's your guess?
Carolina's home?
Yep.
I would say that Carolina's a small favorite. John said small, so I'll say small favorite.
All right. What do you think, Jesse?
I have Cleveland as a small favorite.
Cleveland -1. I mean, like, if you're going to bet the game, you're betting money line either way. But still, that's interesting. I mean, I don't do week 1 picks. Like, I have no idea what the week 1 spreads are this early in the season. But that's curious because I didn't know that was their opener. But it's a situation where immediately the sky's falling if you lose that game, and you go into it as only a 1-point favorite. So, that's kind of the type of year that it's going to be in Cleveland with Watson certainly being out suspended for an inordinate amount of time.
What's the total, out of curiosity, Tom?
Let me bring it back up. 42.5.
It's low for an NFL game, right? 42.
I actually leaned to the under in that game. We talked about that on the show last night too. And to your point, Rob, you said ball control, right? Ball control, run the ball, little dink and dunk passes. Even with Amari Cooper playing the slot, you could see that happening. And all of a sudden, the time goes off the clock, and the score is 17-16, and Cleveland pushes.
Yeah, I think they might try that, John. I don't know that Carolina will try that on the other side. They may be a little more wide open. They tried to be wide open with the LSU offensive coordinator last year, fired him, got somebody. I don't even know who's in there right now without having it up in front of me at OC, but they could try and change things up a little bit. And 42.5 is always strange to me because you're looking at 23-20 for an NFL game to cash a ticket if you bet over. And to me, that never seems inconceivable the way these NFL fourth quarters go. It just seems like even if you're stuck at 13-10 after 3, somehow, some way, you're going to get, late scores in an NFL game. So I think maybe, and we'll see what weather and everything else is and what these teams, after 3 preseason games, are there any major injuries for either one of these teams? But yeah, 42.5 just to me always seems low in an NFL game nowadays.
Oh, unquestionably it does. No doubt. Rob Vino, you're bringing up the anchor here for the final best bet of the show. So we all know it'll be a good one.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go out west. We talked a little bit about Noah Syndergaard yesterday. I'm on him tonight. They are at home against the Houston Astros. Small dogs, Garcia for the other side. But I love at this point in the season looking at starting pitcher splits between home and away. And Noah Syndergaard is one of the handful that just has overwhelming splits. He's pitched extremely well at home. I give you the home numbers. 213 batting average against, 266 on base percentage against, only 323 slugging, only 589 OPS. That encompasses 7 starts, guys, 178 plate appearances. So it's getting to be a really good sample size. 2.62 ERA, 0.99 whip. You compare that to his road numbers, and there's a couple guys where he's 300 points better and 3 full earned runs better at home than he is on the road. He's pitched very well against Houston once already. I think this Yordan Alvarez injury at some point in time, because this injury looks like it's going to be for a long haul now. In the short term, Houston dealt with it while he was injured and he was still hitting. But now without him in that lineup, that's a big piece to miss. So you might even look toward potentially fading Houston a little bit now, because I don't know that the odds makers are going to change their opinion of Houston off of Yordan Alvarez. So I feel like the Angels here, although they're playing, let's call it what it is. It's bad baseball, right? But again, in Major League Baseball, as I was once taught a long time ago, even the lousy teams win between 60, 65 games. Angels may be a lousy team, but I think they're in a good position here with a pitcher who's on a 1-year contract. And as we talked about yesterday, I think he's going to be the most coveted right arm at the trade deadline. I think teams are going to go bonkers over him the way he's thrown this year and shown that he can come back. His strikeout numbers aren't what they used to be when he was with the Mets. But, boy, he's getting outs at home. And overall, he's pitched pretty well. So give me Noah Syndergaard plus price against Houston here. It may be the start for me of an everyday look against Houston. Not necessarily betting against them every day, but just first reaction, can I play against the Astros today? I think today we can against Garcia. If it was Valdez or Verlander, maybe I think differently. But it's Luis Garcia. So we'll take LA plus price against Houston.
I try not to hold grudges against teams, but they killed me this weekend in that game where they had they called up the kid from I forget his name now, the lefty, to start against
Baltimore,
Oakland.
Right?
Oakland calls the lefty to start up against them, and they throw Framber Valdez out there, and Maldonado costs him the game with his. And he's a great defensive catcher. Can't tag the guy out. It was impossible to miss him. Misses him. Then the pass ball and the wild pitch, 3 runs, and you're done. And then they can't hit anybody. So they're on my list. I'll join you in looking to fade them at some point.
All right.
Off tonight though.
Strength in numbers.
There you go.
Well, I guess that'll conclude today's show. Thanks for your time, guys. Oh, wait. Tony Fit is in the house.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
I didn't see you there, Tony.
Yeah, no, I just popped on the screen because you didn't see me.
It was the bright lights.
The bright lights, well, that's coming from my new veneers, probably, or something like that.
Well, I thought maybe you were near a nuclear reactor and you're just glowing.
That wouldn't be that. That would probably be some man-made chemical drug that I was experimented with.
Well, you're supposed to ingest it. You don't rub it on your face.
Oh, that's
Don't
what
you
you
know
think.
anything?
That depends on where I'm at and who I'm with. Pretty girl, I rub anything on my face. Come on.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy! It's good to have you on the show. But you're going to be on deck here for a final best bet.
We
I
read
decided
that.
that Cleveland's going to suck, and Baker Mayfield will not be the comeback player of the year.
No.
Ben Simmons will be the comeback player of the year in the NBA because he has nothing but upside. Nothing but upside.
Somebody compared him to Bobby Douglas. As far as kind of like they compared him to Will Chamberlain at the free throw line and Bobby Douglas at quarterback. So whatever you take from that, I know what to think.
Bobby Douglas at least could run.
Yeah, 1,000 yards, 1,000 rushing yards, 1,000 throwing yards. Actually, it probably took preseason stats to get over 1,000 throwing yards too. But
I've got to warm up my hamstrings before I get to the gym at 6, so I will be you guys.
What? BetMGM TV at 8 o'clock.
What ambulance?
Check me out on BetMGM at 8, wherever they host that show.
What ambulance is taking you to the gym? Because you're
I'm
certainly
going to the
not
gym,
running.
baby. I'm starting my comeback. It's horrible. Like my stamina is completely gone. So
what?
Really get tired.
Where were you? Where were you that you're going back to?
I tore my hamstring in 2019, and then the pandemic. So closed all basketball courts. I didn't touch a basketball until the Vegas shoot.
I wonder why James Harden has issues with his hamstrings.
And my Achilles is sore, and my hamstrings are tight. So I will tread with caution.
You see this right here.
But I expect to see you out there cheerleading at least in our basketball game.
Yeah, I will have my skirt on. Damn right I will.
I appreciate that.
Well, there are male cheerleaders, Tony Finn.
Go, Tony!
I'll see you, boys.
All right, so take care.
Go, Tony!
It reminds me of that show when I was a kid called Flipper. It was a dolphin, and he used to come out of the water and clap his hands like that. Just like that.
He did.
And he made funny sounds like you do.
You got to be good at something.
Flipper.
That's your new nickname, Tony Flipper. Tony effing Flipper.
It's funny because
he's good at flipping.
My nickname's Fish. Fish. I like to be considered. Back in the old days when we used to play a lot of poker, they'd say, "Who are you, Tony? And what do they call you?" They call me Fish. Well, everybody thought, Fish? This guy's easy. I'm going to call him when it works. Don't effing call me at the poker table. Call me Fish.
Fish?
Shark.
It's like he's reading for a Hollywood script all the time. Call me Fish.
Ooh,
you got the part, Tone.
A fish called Finn. Not a fish called Wanda. A fish called Finn.
And that would be a funnier movie, I bet.
Yeah, but Fish called Wanda was pretty funny, I gotta say.
Yeah.
So do you have a free pick?
I do. Well, I have a free pick, but you have to sign a contract. From what I understand, I was told I was called, and you have to sign a contract, which now charges you my standard fee because you're no longer part of the incestual group that we have here.
Man, you're gonna make me start crying again?
Well, I kind of am still. I mean, the bridge is not burned, and the door is still wide
Well,
open.
it's not about bridges. It's not about burning bridges. It's about paying for those bridges. They're expensive. That infrastructure is expensive.
Price of bridges is on the rise.
That is part of the problem. That is part of the problem. The infrastructure costs and
infrastructure.
I just only got 3 emails and 1 phone call. Morency called. Of course, he says, "No, Tony, you have to have my permission, or we got to get paid to be on Sunday's show." I said, "Done, Gabe. I'll get it paid. I'll get us paid." And Pat McAfee, of course, he said, "No, you can't do anything until I get my cut." And that's a given too. And then there's a couple of guys too. Well, Lynn Dawson, he's complaining, because I no longer give him information on who to bet on, and he's been losing lately. Stuff like that. But there's normal stuff in my life.
Right. Who's not giving Len
I have
Dawson
no
betting
idea what he
information?
said, Jesse.
Lynn Dawson. Yeah, well, all his mobster friends, I think, have passed.
Right?
Lynn's no pup, by the way.
No, not at all. If I'm 60, he's 90.
That's probably I am 62, and so are you. Aren't you 60?
I mean, he's in that Super Bowl, and I was about 7 when he was in the Super Bowl. So
the first one or the second one?
the one against the one where they beat the Vikings.
That was 4. That was
1969, right?
Yeah. That's correct. That was
Jesse, aren't they?
That
You
was
listen,
that was when
you
you couldn't even get a line. Listen, that week of the Super Bowl, before they came on, the books took everything off the board. Why? You know why they did? Because Lynn was betting on the game, and they had to find out where he was, who he was. Lynn's on the sideline smoking a damn cigarette while defense
Oh
on
my
the field.
God, I love it.
They were huge underdogs. I mean, that was Bud Grant's Vikings. They were huge underdogs.
That was,
and they beat their ass.
Joe
Hank
Cap.
Stram.
Joe Cap.
Yeah.
They beat the hell out of him.
They did. There's no kid. It's John, you were just talking about age. I mean, it's something to be able to say that I do not remember one play of the very first Super Bowl. Lived through them all. But starting with Green Bay, Oakland in Super Bowl II, I can remember, almost every Super Bowl, 3 with Namath.
Well,
doing the job, and 4 with and that caused the merger, right? 4 caused the merger once the AFL won 2 Super Bowls in a row.
Yep.
It was
Namath,
the John Mackey pass.
Yeah.
The deflection to John Mackey that beat the Cowboys, right? That was maybe 5.
What he's mentioned. What's funny is, Rob, is that it wasn't even Super Bowl 1 wasn't really Super Bowl. It was a championship. Listen, Super Bowl was something that Lamar Hunt came up with. Post.
True.
Really, it was kind of nothing official yet. See, Lamar Hunt, very underrated owner and pioneer of American football. Surprisingly, I also a lot of people don't know that they were they started in Dallas, and when the Cowboys came along, Lamar said, "I'm not going to compete with you." He moved. Lamar moved from Dallas to Kansas City.
Dallas Texans.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, those are, again, bringing up age, but some good football back then. I mean, some of the stuff we see offensively now, we think it's so wide open.
Oh,
Sid Gilman was running with John Hadel and Lance Allworth and Gary Garrison and all those guys. In the 60s, Sid Gilman was running this offense, so it ain't that new.
And Hank Stram was pretty he was pretty innovative too, What are you going to do up and down the field? What are we going to do up and down the field?
Matriculate the ball.
Matriculate that ball up and down the field. It's good stuff, man.
Yeah. I mean, that highlight package is priceless.
It is so good. Oh, damn. I told you. Hank Stram never even acted like a coach. He was a damn cheerleader.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Good stuff. A lot of guys on the team.
He was boisterous.
What?
He was boisterous.
Oh, he did. He was that when he was. I don't know if you remember that. He used to do some announcing. He did some Monday Night Football for a while. Did a lot of I think
Great
Westwood.
voice. I like his voice.
I didn't know if he was doing Westwood or who he was working with, but he did some of that too. Yeah,
I know he picked the Super Bowl correctly for about 23 straight years.
Him and
Hank Stram's pick is whatever, waiting for that to. But we're killing Jesse here with this talk of late 1960s football. But
listen.
I just love you in different language. I don't understand.
Think about it, guys. I mean, he where he lives, the Super Bowl was played on a Sunday. He didn't even find out who won until Wednesday.
Oh, yeah. Does he live in Nova Scotia?
He got the final score delivered to him.
He lives like between Nova Scotia and Iceland, somewhere out there. I don't know, like an iceberg.
I was probably closer to the first Super Bowl I watched than you guys were.
I don't think so, unless your mom was at the damn game because you weren't born.
Well, no. The first Super Bowl I watched would have been Bengals and 49ers. Boomer versus.
Really? Oh, I remember that one. I was drunk.
Wow.
I was in college drunk at that thing. What year was that?
I was like 10 years old, I think.
That's like 88, right? They found
Oh, wow.
Stanley, the
Hey,
kick
that
returner, in a bathtub the morning of the game.
Yeah, that was, listen.
Drugged up, right?
Yeah. Yeah, that's some good stuff.
That was Boomer Esiason's team.
Icky?
I think there was a nasty leg injury in that one, too. A guy bone sticking out of a leg and carted off the field right in the Super Bowl.
Well, that's the Eisman one. Icky. It was Icky Wood. What was Icky Woods?
You know what? Now that I think about it, they played the 49ers and Bengals played twice, 81 and 88, right? Because the first time around it was Montana.
I think 81 is the one where I was in college and not the 88.
Right.
88.
81. You'd have to be in college because I was. So, yeah, we're right
there.
Well,
I was really in college. I mean, I was enrolled. Like, go.
Kenny Anderson and that Bengals team got there because they played the Chargers in Riverfront in like 26 below weather, and Dan Fouts in that offense froze to death that day. Cincinnati crushed them.
That's another. I can get.
They had that guy Pete Johnson, Tony. Remember that like 300-pound fullback Pete Johnson for the Bengals?
Yes, I do. I have a friend here who they call the commish. You might be familiar with him, Rob, because we talk about it on Game Show all the time. Because the commish is he's an old LA butcher, LA Jewish butcher, who had season tickets to the Lakers and was very close to a lot of the players and coaches of the Dodgers. Well, he still has a really good rapport with the Dodgers. He knows and I'm always complaining about obviously Dave Roberts, but so Dave being a huge Dodgers fan, we talk about the Dodgers all the time, and the commission gave us some information. Long story short on that one is the commish, his brother-in-law, is it brother-in-law or it's his godson or his godson. Let's put it this way. Dan Fouts is in his family. Okay. Speaks with Dan Fouts, and he's always asking me, would you like to have Dan Fouts, provide you with some quotes or be on one of the shows you're on? And I said that'd be great because Dan Fouts always has something to say. An entertaining guy, and while I wasn't a big fan of Dan's as a color guy, if you remember when he did some color, yeah, I wasn't a big fan. You can put a sentence together. And I know he's got some stories, and I'd like to hear some of them, firsthand.
Absolutely,
it would take a while to tell all the stories, I would think.
Well, I guarantee it. The thing about Dan is, you imagine people tell stories. They like to tell stories about themselves. Dan's got lots of good stories about throwing for 8,000 yards and 2 quarters and stuff like that. That we all know. No defense. Dan Fouts didn't want defense because if they had a defense, you see, he would have to be out the field more. Dan liked playing with teams with no defense because he liked to be throwing the ball around the field, right?
And they had some talented skill guys. Oh my goodness, did they have guys?
Didn't have many, and they did, and they followed his instructions because they had some really bad defenses.
They did. Yeah. They let Miami back in that playoff game, right? They were crushing them at halftime.
What was the final score? That was 72 to 769 or something.
It's the one where Kellen Winslow passes out on the field, right?
Yeah. That's another story.
Jesse's checking his phone to see if his personal trainer's coming over.
That's right.
Oh, nice.
Really?
Nice.
Is he as pretty as you?
Listen, if we're having weightlifting competition in this Las Vegas thing, then I'm on Jesse's team because I want him to carry us home.
In the last 6 months, guys, I do a lot of work around the house. I think you've heard me. I don't complain. I enjoy doing it, but I built a cobblestone sidewalk along the side of my house and into the pool. And true story. I did it on a kind of when I told my wife I was going to do it, she said, do you think you could do it without spending $20,000, Tony? Can you do that? And I said, I'll do it on a budget. Yep. Nice wife of mine. And that's not exactly what I said, but you get the gist. But it took me about a year because I only put an hour or two into it. But long story short is, after it was done, a week afterwards, something happened to my hand. And I thought I broke my hand because doing those cobblestones, you had to break them, chip them. And then when you buried them, guys, into the ground I have here, and you've been, Rob, it's rocked hard. And so it took forever for me to position those cobblestones, get them level. And I thought I broke these fingers because I was always doing stuff, and I hurt. Well, come to find out, man, I have arthritis, and it is overnight arthritis, guys. It isn't just suddenly gradual. It's so bad I can't straighten my fingers, and I can't get a grip. So I'm learning how to do everything left-handed. So until I learn how, and I'm ambidextrous to a degree anyway. At least that's what my basketball coach says he's doing. However, until I get completely fluent with my left hand, I can't be part of the Wager Talk basketball team. And I apologize.
Tony,
I apologize.
If you spill a beer on your hand, that doesn't mean it's liquid.
Huh?
You know, Tony, a low-carb diet might combat some of the inflammation that irritates the arthritis.
What are you trying?
I think
low
Jesse
carb diet.
just
That means
diet.
low carb diet means no Coca-Cola, no Pablo Coca-Cola. No,
all that
it
stuff
means
you like?
no, huh? What?
All the stuff you like?
All the stuff that's my sustenance that I live on. That without, just shoot me. Okay?
Tony, Coca-Cola with Bacardi's rum in it is still Coca-Cola.
I drink Coke. I drink straight Coke. 100% the real thing. I'm drinking that Pepsi stuff. I don't snort any of that Pepsi stuff. I drink the real thing.
Well, you know, you could drown snorting Pepsi. You could.
I believe that. I might die just from somebody threatening to give me Pepsi.
Do you know this started with Tony Finn's best bet, and now we're on to drowning over snorting Pepsi?
Okay, listen.
He's not going to
best
snort
bet.
Coke.
What was your best bet, good sir?
My best bet was this betting system that you missed.
Okay, forget you. What was your best?
There you go. Look at that thing.
Damn! I had to ask.
It was so long ago.
Put it up there again, John.
Here it is.
I hope it's in Russian. I can't read anything but Russian.
Bet on the NFL owners in road games. No,
the
seriously.
AFL. The what? That's
You
an
can
NFL
read
play.
it yourself, but this thing is one of the best ones in my database. It has a JR value that is almost near absolute zero, meaning that these parameters work extraordinarily well together. They work like the four of us on a show, for example.
What's the 92.1%?
The last 3 years, it's a 33-year database, all right? So the last 33 years, this thing has been highly profitable in 25 of them. I can send you the spreadsheet with every single play.
Bet on road favorites in non-divisional clash. Why does it have to say clash? Why can't it say a game? Well, I mean, somebody's going to think we're
I wanted to be fancy.
like a rock band or
Everybody
something.
says game. I wanted to be like a Wall Street Journal. Like,
how about a contest?
Words.
How about an affair? How about a matchup? Clash is the name of a band.
The one that doesn't make sense is bet on road favorites in a non-divisional tilt. What is a tilt?
Tilt. Oh, tilt is when you've drank too much Coca-Cola and snorted too much Pepsi, and the machine, the pinball machine is off center.
Non-divisional tilt. I never got that. I mean, the Leaning Tower tilts.
Leaning Tower of Clash.
So anyway, the next thing, Tony, is our road favorite has averaged 7.5 or more yards per pass attempt. And as you will see, this betting system doesn't even apply until week 4 because our road team has struggled on defense for 3 consecutive games, allowing 7 or more yards per pass attempt, which is absolutely horrid. And it has more games recently because of the
let's cut to the chase here. Who's your free pick?
My free pick is yet to be determined because we're not at week 4 yet.
Oh, okay. Then you don't. Then it would have been really nice if you just said, "I don't have one."
Take the Phillies.
I took the
Ben
Phillies.
Simmons, MVP.
I took the Phillies yesterday, and there are 11 hard hit balls.
Yeah.
In which 2 of them became hits. 2 of 11 hard hit balls. The Phillies are jinxed.
I like them tonight as a doggo.
And they can't.
That Toronto team is
like a
not
bunch
playing
of
well.
pregnant men. Ew, pissing me off. Okay, and Rob's free pick was who?
I had the Angels with Syndergaard, Tone.
I like Syndergaard a little bit. I'm watching Syndergaard. You see, other than the 2 bad starts, well, he's had 2 really bad starts. But but he's been pretty solid. Two or fewer
Especially
runs,
at home.
two or fewer runs in 8 of 13, 3.84 ERA, I think, and 3.83 FIP. So those jive, right? And righties are only hitting like 280 on a WBA against Syndergaard. So against the Houston team, they're actually getting some money tonight. I think you're right. If you were talking about Alvarez and him being missing, I think it matters. Yeah. So if that's what you talked about, then I think you're spot on. How about Jesse?
I took under for the Dallas Cowboys team total, or sorry, regular season wins.
Wow,
total.
is it August? Is it already September?
Getting ahead of the game, you know.
Man, you guys are so. Listen, you guys actually put some.
To be fair, Tony, at your age, time flies. I've heard.
Oh yeah, I know. It'll be January 20th. I'll be 69 years old before I know it. I know. Here's what I'm going to give you then. Let's go to. I think those are all winners. In fact, I know one of them's a winner. In fact, I know whether one of them will be a winner in the next 10 hours. You're two? I don't know about. But how about who's a fan of the White Sox? Not too many people that I know of in this business right now. However, who's a fan of Cease? Who's a fan of Tony La Russa saying, "Listen, we're going to lose game 1 on purpose. Let's throw out everybody that hits under 200. We'll pitch them. We'll hit them against Bieber, and then we'll come out in game 2, and we'll throw Cease to the mound with who's the umpire? Rob in that second game is the new Will Little. He's last year's Will Little. It's Dan Messel. Do you know anything about Dan Messel?
Wow.
Do you know who Dan Messel is? Do you know who he is?
Tight zone, right?
He's calls more strikes. His strikeout to walk ratio is the highest in MLB. I have played him 6 times. 6 times this year, I have played him on over strikeout props. And the record on those 6 games, 6-0.
Yes, sir.
Tonight,
He's the new Angel Hernandez.
Not only do I like
Angel. He's the new Angel.
Yeah,
Hernandez.
We're gonna stream. Here's my free pick for everyone. We're gonna stream the White Sox. We're gonna play them on the money line for 1 unit. Screw it. We'll play them on the money line for 2 units at $1.55 right now, $1.60. 2 units. Playing 2 units -1 at even money. And we'll play 2 units at -3 at +190. And we'll play 2 units on Cease over 6.5 strikeouts at -140. And we'll have a swagger when we go to the window to collect.
It's going to take a while to collect all those winnings too.
I have pockets that are. I'm married, 3 kids in college. My pockets are empty. Plenty of room.
So you think the White Sox going to blow out essentially?
Well, I think this. I think if you know anything about Pilkington starting, he's left-handed. Look at his percentiles. Let me pull up percentiles for you of Pilkington. How about this? How about if I tell you that he's got a couple percentiles where he's competitive. Where? Fastball, his whiff percentage, 60 percentile. Average exit velocity, which has kept him in the major leagues, 64 percentile. Hard hit, 33 percentile. WXOBA, 17 percentile. XERA, 17 percentile. X batting average, BA, 31 percentile. Slugging, 32 percentile. Barrel, only 3 pitchers in baseball average more barrels or surrendering barrels per game than Mr. Pilkington, who is 24. Mr.'s probably at the baby Pilkington, 6'3", 250-pound big boy. Chase rate, 23 percentile. Fastball velocity, he averages about 90, 91 on the fastball, which is Rob when he's drunk. Rob can throw the ball that fast.
Let's go.
Cease on the money line, -1, -3 for some extra pocket change, tuition money for the kids. Over 6.5 strikeouts. It may be 7.5. I've been so busy today. I'm trying to get on the show that I haven't done much work. So I'm on it, guys.
Man alive, it's great having you on the show.
It's so good to be here. Will you sign the contract?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, whenever there's one to sign, I'll definitely be signing it.
He just gave you 4 picks, so it's going to cost you 4 times as much, John.
Yeah.
But I didn't ask for 4.
No, but see, you don't have to ask.
Three
I give freely. I give an abundance. I do everything excessively in moderation.
and freely.
By nature, he's a provider. He's not a hunter-gatherer. He's a provider.
I'm a giver. I'm not a taker.
I don't know what to say, Jesse.
I got to step up my best bet game after listening to Tony. I mean, I feel bad.
Get it. All you guys, you got about an hour. Get it in.
Yeah.
Get it in. And that way, either tomorrow I'm a hero or I'm not showing up. One of the two.
Well, I already have it, so I don't have to go get it.
There
But
it is,
you're
see?
right. He changed those doubleheader pitchers La Russa did. I mean, Cease was supposed to pitch against Bieber, and he did split it as if he was giving the first one away. And when I saw it this morning, I was like, Dylan Cease has been fantastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
yeah, he's he's had his fair share of some lack of focus, and the White Sox, like the Phillies, not quite as bad as the Phillies, but they're not. I don't think they're the best defensive team, and they, like the Yankees of the last 3 years, seem to always have a key piece or two on the IL.
And finally, they got him back, right? Because I saw Moncada's back yesterday. So it's Jimenez is back, Robert is back, Abreu is back, Anderson is back. They're all Moncada's back. The whole team finally.
I mean, there's few pitchers, and Rob's correct. There's few pitchers having nasty stuff, commanding nasty stuff, and being able to navigate the highs, the lows, and the speed bumps of a game. Cease still has a long ways to go, but he has some nasty stuff. When he's on, it's hard to hit. It's hard. The word unhittable is a bad word to use. It's like using the word deserve. I never use that word because as soon as I say I deserve something, I usually get what I deserve, so I don't use that word. So, Cease, when he's on, he's pretty damn good.
It's the opposite of Lance Lynn right now.
Oh, well, yeah. Lance Lynn's a veteran who still behaves like Chris Sale.
And we'll see him tonight.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Yeah, well,
I want to see what he's like.
you just if he's only had a good inning, you're fine. If you're going to do it like I don't know. I stay out of the way of. I would be for Chris Sale. He may hit your mother if you're standing. If you're walking. He's unpredictable. But I'm excited to see him pitch too. I really am. A good Boston team is good for baseball. Right now, that's not what they are.
Yep.
No bullpen.
Well, common logic defeated the computer last night because the computer said Boston was 8-1.
Yeah.
Off of a win against the Yankees on the road.
Oh no!
Next day, and
is this the same one?
Tampa whacked them.
This same one to say to bet road favorites coached by Hank Stram that are 7.5 point road dogs.
Yeah, but it didn't include McDonald's, Tone, so you can't use it.
We would benefit from having some dog doesn't like my free pick.
Somebody's puppy hates your free pick.
I'm telling you.
I can't believe you hear that. That's actually Manny.
Oh, Manny.
He wants a drink.
It sounds like a real
for me to play fetch with him, and that is an endeavor.
Well,
that's
Manny
a sport in and of itself.
Is Manny old?
4.5.
Because when you playing fetch with you can only throw the softball about 30 feet. So I saw you trying to throw a ball on a film the other day, and poor Manny, he doesn't even have to move hardly.
Listen, comrade.
He's underestimating you, John.
He's wearing LA hat.
A golf game together.
Well, yeah, I can hit a Super Bowl 30 feet too.
It didn't take long for that drive to be nice little baby draw, 280 yards.
That ball's illegal.
Wedge.
Sure.
I was I'm ready to take on Nick Borman at AC Country Club soon.
Well, I tell you what, you and Tony Finn need to be paired up, John. You two together for 18 holes would be classic.
Well, here's the deal. When I'm 97,
it would have to be filmed.
I still won't take a damn golf cart and I can still shoot better than 97.
I walked back-to-back days, comrade. I don't need no
What?
cart.
Walked?
I don't need a cart.
I don't need a car. I just need a hover. One of the little golf hovers. Those are fun.
Well,
It's the one where you can drive your hover onto the green without making any marks. Putt, mark your. It's good. That's the golf of the future, baby. And on the hover, wet bar to the right, ice to the left, and whatever the latest soft porn site is on each.
It's got to be time to take that dog for a walk, John.
Yeah.
I'm gonna end the show here shortly, but
Tony Finn's got to
right now,
rework
Tony.
himself. He's got to play with all left-handed clubs now.
yeah.
Yes. Oh, I forgot about that.
Jesse Scholl's going to be my caddy. You know why? He's not going to second guess me.
Because he can carry the car.
But he's
over
not
his
much of
head.
a damn caddy because that's what caddies are paid to do.
Yeah.
Second guess you.
He's just going to lift the cart up with the two of you in it.
Yeah.
So,
We won't need
You
no cart.
need to ask me what kind of club you should use because I wouldn't have any idea.
No, you just have to hold the bag out like this, and I just reach in and select what I want.
I want a double busted Bertha. Big
Yeah,
Bertha, double busted. Can't miss a damn ball. Wham!
just pour whatever Tony wants, Jesse.
I was 4 over par the other night, and it got dark.
On one hole?
Well, it was 3.
Oh, that's all right then. You did good. That's a
No,
bogey.
silly. I was going into 17, and it got too dark to
There's
see the
Manny
ball.
saying, quit lying.
Maybe.
Man, oh man, I hate being challenged. I really do.
Well, that's what keeps you young.
Well, anyway, I'm going to go take care of Manny here.
Okay.
And
All
thanks for joining us, Tony Finn. Thanks for
Man, I had
your
fun.
time and energy and enthusiasm and
Cease.
your
Cease.
complete nonsense.
Yeah.
Excessively.
At least he really does.
If they come to me and they say, hey, Tony, it's not really how it happened. Shut up. I'm making the story better.
That's why we'd have to film 18 holes so that it would be documented of what actually happened.
Right. That's right.
But we can still, pretty it up.
The number of times Tony Finn says, okay, that putt's good. Pick it up, John.
Yeah. Winner rules.
Under a half.
Play it up. We're playing winner rules.
Under a
I know
half,
it's July.
Tony Finn gives me a putt.
I know it's July, but I play winner rules. Play it up.
All right, I'm going to see you guys later. Jesse,
All right.
take us out of here quick.
Okay, guys.
All right, Tony. Tonight and for the rest of your life, bet with your head and not over it, and may all the wins be yours.